Guzmania sanguinea. Probably one of my favorite bromeliads in the entire world. Okay, maybe not, because there's so many. No, that's not true, but for today, let's pretend it is true. Okay, so I want to share with you some information about this plant, growth care and culture tips, and just some historical information about it. So if you do ever get your hands on one of these beauties, you'll know exactly how to care for them. And since they are quite expensive and not often seen in people's collections, that you don't waste your money on it. Okay, cool, let's go. So this exquisitely beautiful Guzmania is, number one, it is unusual as Guzmanias go. For those of you who do know Guzmanias quite well, you would know that this shape is what you would find on a Neurogelia, this flat sort of appearance. Now this Guzmania actually has this central urn from where the flowers arrive, and the flowers stick out of the water. They've got these very beautiful green pistils. If I just try and zoom in on that there for you so you can actually see the pistils. Okay, so side note, when I sort of talk about these green pistils, you'll notice that the anthers actually kind of are tucked in underneath the pistil. They sort of really come together, 5 of them, and they really encompass the style of the stigma. So you have stigma, which is the 3 little things on the top, style, which is the long bit, and then the ovary in the base of the flower. Stigma, style, ovary. And the reason why they're actually so tightly pushed around the base of the flower, rumor has it that when the hummingbird or a pollinator has got to come and get some nectar, they've actually got to push down in between that, right? And the little bristles, little sort of hairy bits on the beak, on the very base, sort of at the base of the beak, it actually, the pollen is very sticky, and so it will stick along the length of the beak, especially on the bristly bits. I find that especially here with our sugar birds. I can't remember whether hummingbirds have got the same thing, but the point is that as the beak enters down the length of the flower into the recesses of the bloom to get the nectar, it picks up pollen, and then with the next flower it has to go past the stigma again, down between the anthers to the back of the flower to get the nectar, and thereby the flower gets pollinated and seed begins to form in the base of the bloom. Now when I say that they do form seed, they form dehiscent capsules. So a capsule is basically something like this. So here you can actually see a capsule beginning to emerge from this freesia. So that is a capsule. The anthers sit right below the pistils, and they are bright yellow. And you can see the rest of the blooms actually sitting below the surface of the water waiting to arrive, as the others are now fading. These ones are already dead, and they will soon produce seed. The plant does set seed very easily. In nature it is generally pollinated by hummingbirds, and it is an epiphyte, and it can be found 1,000 meters, well, up to 1,000 meters from sea level, in pluvial forests of Costa Rica, Trinidad and Tobago, Ecuador, Venezuela, and some of the surrounding, I believe Panama as well, some of the surrounding areas in South America. It is an extremely beautiful Guzmania, especially when it is in bloom, as it is here. And sanguinea, it means bloody in Latin, referring to this red color when it comes into flower. Now, is it easy to grow? Well, yeah, actually it is. If you've got the right conditions for this plant, it does not obviously want freezing temperatures, and it will kill it. And also consistent temperatures above 30 degrees and very low humidity will also harm the plant. So you generally want humidity of 60% and above regularly. If you've ever gotten away with temperatures other than that, please let me know in the comments. That would be most welcome. And yeah, it is monocarpic, as with most bromeliads, not all of them, which basically means that after it flowers, it will die and it will split, as with this one here, which its parent, the mother plant, is now gone, so you can't see it anymore. But if I basically show you that these are two pups which rose out of the mother. So at some point I'll do an episode on vegetative reproduction of this plant for you, so that you can actually see, because it is quite complicated to split the plant, because it's known as an upper pupper, which is a bit of a complicated bromeliad to deal with when you're trying to separate pups out of it to make more. Okay, so yeah, it was named after a guy called Anastasio Guzman. It was honored, well, the plant was named to honor him. He died, I think, I speak under correction, in 1809 or 1806 or something like that. So the plant has been in cultivation, or it's been known of, for a long time. So it is an extremely exquisite plant. It doesn't have this red color all of the time. When the blooms fade and everything disappears, it just returns back to this sort of green-brown color, quite bland, really. And if we look underneath, it's got this gorgeous these lines. So sort of these, let's just see if I can get you a clear shot of that. There's red lines underneath the plant, which are quite stunning. So yeah, very big plant, holds a lot of water, can tolerate relatively low light, so makes a very good house plant. The only problem, as with most bromeliads, that you would have is collection of dust over the leaves, so you would have to flush it out once in a while, and also make sure that you don't get mosquitoes breeding in the central urn over there. Unless you're okay with that, which I am, I don't mind, then you're good to go. So this is basically Guzmania sanguinea tricolor. Now, in terms of growth conditions, the plant is going to want a good organic, and by organic I don't mean organic in the sort of in that sense, I mean a lot of organic matter. So bark-based medium, bark and peat would be good, pine bark and peat with a controlled released fertilizer, and it would do beautifully. You can add some perlite into that and also vermiculite, but keep in mind the plant is sensitive to rotting, so you don't want to overwater this one. It is epiphytic, which means it does get a lot of water, it floods itself, and then it dries out, and then it floods itself and it dries out again. And during the cooler months of the year, if you live outside of the tropics, you want to keep it on the drier side. And then obviously as soon as the warmer months arrive, the plant wants quite a bit of water. It wants to be like really nice and wet, and it is extremely beautiful once it gets watered, because the colors absolutely change. So that is Guzmania sanguinea tricolor, and I hope this gives you a nice insight into the plant and helps you to grow one. And I hope that you can find one to grow, because they are relatively rare in people's collections and quite expensive when you do find them, and they're relatively easy, in my opinion, to care for. But I have had other people struggle with respect to caring for this plant. So don't waste your money, do the research first, and then maybe treat yourself to one of these. So guys, that's it, quick and dirty. Hope you find this useful, and yeah, catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.